TGIF and weather for Weather Geeks time. Here on Friday evening, hope you had a good Friday. The weather certainly turned out to be pretty nice today. After a fairly cloudy start, we saw an increase in kind of milky sunshine this afternoon. We still had kind of a veil of high clouds overhead, but it was awfully nice with temperatures getting into the 40s. One of our big midwinter weather stories has been the lack of snow over the last few weeks. And here through the first 4 days of January, we've only had a trace officially at the airport, a trace registered on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Now, through the first 4 days of January, a long-term average is about 2.1 inches worth of total snow through the first 4 days of the month. We average about a half an inch per day. But of course, you have a lot of days when you don't have any snow. You have some days when you have some big, huge amounts of snow at this time of the year. And when you look at kind of a smoothed out average, it ends up being about a half an inch of snow per day. All right, it's been a long time since we've seen any measurable snow at the Youngstown Warren Airport. And by measurable, we mean anything more than a trace, anything more than flurries, basically. And yeah, 27 days. I think we're going to make this a full month before this streak finally ends next week. Now, we're not expecting any sort of big accumulations next week, but I wouldn't be surprised if at the airport we registered a half an inch or so both Wednesday and Thursday of next week with some lake-enhanced, lake effect snow showers. We'll talk about next week more in just a second. Nice sunset this evening with our time-lapse camera pointed west here in Boardman. There it goes, a little after 5 o'clock. Our days continue to very, very slowly get a little bit longer at this time of the year, especially at the end of the day. We haven't picked up much daylight yet at the beginning of the day. In fact, we're at our latest sunrises right now in standard time. We have our latest sunrises overall for the year back in daylight saving time in early November. But in standard time, we're at our latest sunrises right now. We've already reached, of course, our earliest sunsets, and the sunsets are getting a little bit longer here in early January. All right, we're not expecting much overnight. This upper level low, as it continues coming east, will try to produce a touch of rain, maybe sprinkles here and there after midnight. Most of us won't even notice this. There's a lot of dry air in the lowest, say, 5,000 to 8,000 feet of the atmosphere. It's going to cause a lot of this to really struggle to come north, but particularly south and east of Youngstown, down towards East Liverpool and Calcutta, and heading over into Beaver County, PA, and then down closer to Pittsburgh. Those are the places that have the best chance of seeing a touch of rain overnight. Even if it rains in your location overnight, blink and you missed it. It's gone by daybreak tomorrow. It should turn out to be a great Saturday weather-wise, especially, considering it's early January. It's the dead of winter, and with sunshine and temperatures making a run at 50, it doesn't get a whole lot better at this time of the year. All right, clouds will try to return on Sunday. This weak front slides in, and as a result, Sunday is not as mild. I've trimmed our temperatures back even more today. Now we're expecting highs in the upper 30s instead of the mid-40s on Sunday, but upper 30s is still above average, and I think the sky will try to brighten some in the afternoon after a fairly cloudy start. All right, clouds will roll back in on Monday, but what will also roll back in Monday is the milder temperatures. We'll get well into the 40s late in the day on Monday, maybe one of those days where we reach our high in the evening instead of mid-afternoon, but we'll get there eventually. Also, as we head into the evening, these rain showers will try to push in, and that chance for some showers will continue into Monday night. First thing Tuesday morning, wanted to preview the middle of next week. Now, the pattern is going to change, even if it's somewhat temporary, middle of next week. It does not mean it's going to snow a whole lot. It doesn't mean it's going to be any sort of harsh Arctic outbreak or anything, but we're going to see typical early January weather for a couple of days anyway. So maybe a shower or two Tuesday. That's our last mild day for a while. Then Wednesday, we're back into what looks like just kind of a classic January weather map. A northwest flow off the lakes. It'll be dead cloudy. It'll be blustery. Temperatures will hardly move on Wednesday. There'll probably be some flurries and snow showers. Some localized small accumulations will be a possibility, especially in the usual places north of Interstate 80. A similar day probably shapes up on Thursday. A cold northerly wind off the lakes, a lot of clouds, maybe some flurries here and there as well. So how long does that cold snap or chillier, more seasonable snap last? I think it looks, on average, a little bit colder through the end of next week and into the following weekend. Then there's probably a warm-up after that. But I am increasingly confident that if you're a snow and cold lover, especially if you're a snow lover, we have a lot of students and teachers who would like some snow days before this winter is through. And for the sake of the accuracy of my winter forecast, I'm hoping for some cold and snow before the winter is through. Increasing confidence the end of January and into February will turn a fair amount colder and stormier, especially colder. I think we're going to end up with below average snow for the season thanks to hardly anything over the last month. But pretty good confidence that it's at least going to turn colder at the end of January and into February. We might even get a legit Arctic outbreak or two before this winter is through. Plenty of winter left. It's only the 4th day of January. There's lots of winter left, so we're not going to bail on winter just yet. But over the next 10 days or so, yeah, not a lot of exciting winter weather heading our way. Hope you have a great weekend, everyone. I'll see you back here on Monday.